Hello and welcome to Reality TV Cringe. I am one of your hosts, Delia, and I'm here with my real tight homegirl and my daughter-in-law, Beatrice.
Hi, everybody.
And we are here to talk with you about 90 Day Fiancé, which returned from a little itty-bitty 2 or 3 week hiatus.
Yeah, how dare they?
Like, was it 3 weeks? It felt like forever.
It was really long. It was like after Christmas.
It's like, what's going on with these people? I missed them.
Me too.
Before we get into it, we want to issue a disclaimer. Had your wife, had your kids. This is a politically incorrect podcast. That means we say bad words. We have dumb opinions. And so if you're sensitive, this is not the dumpster for you. But if you're down and ready to party, come on into the dumpster.
Yes. And if you are down and ready to party, go follow us on Instagram at Reality TV Cringe and join us on Patreon, patreon.com/Reality TV Cringe, where we have 2 to 4 bonus audio episodes a month and 2 to 4 bonus video episodes a month as well. Oh my God.
And if you are watching on YouTube, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It really does help us out. And we thank you in advance.
Thank you.
All right. 90 Day Fiancé. Whatever some of your overall thoughts, or it was a little boring.
It was so boring. These episodes are so fucking long.
Yeah.
And I feel like we never leave the scenes. Like, it's like we start in a scene 4 episodes ago and we're still there.
Yeah. I thought there were a couple of good little tidbits. For example, Rob the Knob and the mom. I thought that was an interesting thing that happened.
Oh my God.
But yeah, it does meander and it takes a little while to get to the point.
Yes. But I mean, I'm still going to watch it.
Of
so
course.
I don't care.
Yes. These people are unhinged just like us.
100%. Well, let's start with Rob and Sophie because we opened with them this episode. They're driving home from the sex shop. If you can remember, they got in a huge blow up fight at the sex shop because some girl came on to them per TLC's request.
Production plant girl. Yeah.
And Rob is still yelling at Sophie about it because he was upset that she would even be open to the idea, I guess, of sleeping with another girl or something.
Wait, Rob is yelling at Sophie?
Yeah,
or
he was
Sophie's yelling at Rob? I mean,
Rob was yelling at Sophie and he's like, well, I feel like I'm not good enough for you if you want to experiment with women in the future.
Right. Yeah. I just, he comes too hard in arguments for me. He's like really, really harsh with her.
Yeah.
And she's a young girl. I think she's 23 or 22. And I'm just like, you don't have to talk to her that way. She's sitting right there. She can hear you.
Right. Chill the fuck out, dude. Yeah. Like, his ego is too much. He takes everything way too personally.
He's very insecure. And he should be, because he doesn't have a job and he's a loser.
I know.
And her mother's name Claire?
Claire,
She's
yes.
coming on into America to tell him about it.
Girl.
And I live. And I love.
My God. Well, Claire flies in from London, England, and she has to stay in a hotel because Rob doesn't have enough room for her in his hostel that he lives in. And so Rob and Sophie, after they cooked kind of a weird meal in his apartment, they go over.
Oh, wait. You can't just gloss over that.
What, the cooking?
Yes, their kitchenette.
Yeah.
And she, like, I guess the oven is warming up, but it's also heating up her telephone. It's heating up her drink. And she's trying to, I don't know, cut vegetables or prepare a meal. And
on a
he
table
has
tray.
to pull out like a TV tray. And they have to sit opposite. I mean, I'm just like, I remember when I was first married the first time at 18, we didn't have a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's 32 years old.
I mean,
and you're pulling out a TV tray so she can sit down and make you a meal, and you're not. I don't want to be classist.
Well,
and I get we're all at different stages of our lives, but I feel like he should be farther along than this.
He could do better. He's 32. He doesn't have a job. Like, that's the thing. It's like, it would be one thing if you were like grinding and you were just making this work for now until your lease was up, and then you saved up for a better place. Like, I get that, but he's not even working.
No, he's not working. Well, how can I work? I mean, I have to spend time with your daughter to travel, and we were spending time in Playa, and it was hard. I can't just get a job. What are you talking about? You don't understand.
You don't understand what it's like to be at the bottom, is what he tells.
Yeah, you're privileged.
Her mom. Yeah.
You have too much privilege.
I'm like, look, man. I mean, I get it. We've all been at the bottom. We've all had our struggles. I totally understand. But like, I think about when you and your daughter, or me and your daughter, got married, and we were like moved into our first place together. We were in a dingy studio apartment. It was less than 500 square feet. I mean, it was cheap. We were in Texas at the time, but it was like the floors were caving in a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
We had weird neighbors. It wasn't in the best neighborhood. But like we were both working. We were in our early 20s, and then we worked our way up to a better place.
Right.
So
and that's kind of the trajectory. That's kind of how you do it. So it's just, I do think he's kind of behind the 8 ball at his age. And I think he's really insecure about it.
Yeah.
And that's why he's really, really defensive, which is how we get to the scene with the mom. But I'll let you take over, Raw.
Well, after they go and pick up the mom essentially at the hotel. Well, it's at the hotel, the mom, Claire, is like immediately like, when are you getting married? And Rob's like, chill, bro. Like, we'll get married when we can or whatever. And then at some point, the mom makes kind of like an off-the-cuff joke about Rob's mom, and he takes it personally.
Right. She's like, well, when you throw the bouquet, I mean, throw that to me because I've never been married and I want to catch it. And Rob says, well, there's not going to be a whole lot of people there. So it's just going to be like you and my mom. And she's like, well, I'm going to tackle your mom and I'm going to get that bouquet. And he says something like, well, I mean, she's a little person, a very little petite lady, and she's not aggressive.
Yeah.
And so the mother takes offense to that. Let's talk about this particular situation because I'm wondering how you saw that. Do you think Rob fucked that up, or do you think Claire is being a bit too much?
Well, I think they're both being too much. I think that's probably why they get on each other's nerves. But I mean, Rob was calling Claire aggressive, and I'm like, she was just making a sarcastic joke.
Well, but I think he was joking. I mean, he was just kind of, to me, it was like he was just rolling with her vibe. She's joking about physically tackling his mother, and he's kind of just going along with that and just says, she's not aggressive. My mom's not aggressive. I don't know. I just felt like it's okay for you to joke, but then as soon as he jokes back, now it's not a joke because it's pointed in your direction.
Yeah. I guess it could go either way because Rob tends to take things personally, and we've seen it on the show. So it's kind of hard for me because it looked like to me Rob was taking it personally, but that's also the way Claire was framing it. So it's just kind of like an editor bullshit. It's probably scripted, honestly.
I don't know. But then he says like, well, how come it's okay for you to joke, but not me? And so at that point, you have to make a decision to take him at his word. And if he's like, no, I'm just joking.
Right. Right.
Then, I mean, like, we can choose to believe that and not take offense to it. But it looks like her mother's coming into this situation just looking to be offended on behalf of herself and her daughter.
Well, and she also doesn't like him. Like, she's coming into this situation already hating him.
Rob the knob.
Yep. And he knows it too. He's kind of on the defense because he's like, this bitch don't like me because I'm an unlikable loser.
And I don't have a job. I'm not taking care of her daughter. I'm mean to her daughter. I yell at her daughter. She knows because every time they get into a fight, Sophie calls her mom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why she reacted that way. But then after this little weird exchange at the hotel, the next day is when Claire comes over to visit his place. Oh, and this is the long anticipated scene.
I think I'm in front of your apartment. I don't know where I am and I'm scared.
Somebody on Reddit went and sleuthed where he actually lives, and he was renting out like an old restaurant. That's where he was.
What?
Yeah, that's where he was renting. That's why he's got a steel sink, and that's why the bathroom's separate from that room he's in.
Okay.
It's like an old restaurant.
Interesting. All right. I was wondering if it was like a converted garage or something like that.
Yeah, people were saying it's an old restaurant, and that possibly the reason why he's renting it is because his credit's bad.
You think?
Yeah.
You think? I can guarantee you his credit is bad.
We can infer.
And he has no like liquidity to put a down payment or last month plus a security deposit on a nice place. He don't got it, honey.
No, he don't. But Claire immediately, like once she finds the place, she gets into the courtyard and she's like, well, this is like a pretty courtyard.
No, keep walking.
This is nice.
Keep
and then
going.
Sophie's like, yeah, that's the bathroom over there behind the bushes. And the mom's like, oh, the bathroom's not attached.
She knows that already, though.
Yes,
surely Sophie has told her that.
That's a little bit of a dig at Rob.
Of course.
And
he
then
deserves it.
Yeah. And then she gets into the actual humble abode and she's like, wow, this is not great. She's like, do better. She immediately like reams him and is like,
be a real man. Yes. A real man would have made sure that he had a nice place set up for my precious daughter who flew from London to California to be with you. A real man would have made sure she had everything she needs and had a job to take care of her. What the fuck is this?
I mean, she's not wrong though. Like if Sophie can't work and she's completely dependent on Rob.
Right.
Like, come on, dude, you should have done better. And he's like, well, what did you want me to do? I could have waited to see your daughter and saved up, but like I wanted to spend time with her, so
You can do both. You can like plan out your schedule as to when you're going to spend time with Sophie, and you can actually work a job.
Yeah.
He was incredibly embarrassed, which is why he flew off the handle and he started arguing with her mother. See, I wouldn't have done that if I were him. I mean, I could be offended. I could pick up and walk out and go somewhere else, but I don't think I would have started screaming at my girlfriend's mom like that.
No, not a good look at all. And this is where he's like, you don't know what it's like to be at the bottom, and you're just coming in here and judging me, and you don't like me, and fuck you, and then goes and sits out in the courtyard. I'm like, dude, you're 32. Like, grow up a little bit. Like, I get it if you're ashamed or if you're embarrassed, but all you have to say is like, look, I'm struggling. It's been hard. You could blame it on COVID and just be like, I'm trying my best. Your daughter's safe with me though. Like, it's going to be fine.
Right.
That's all you have to say.
Just acknowledge that this isn't where you want to be and that you actually have plans to make a better situation, and just speak to her about it. I mean, but the mom did come in pretty hot.
A little bit.
And pretty judgmental.
Yeah.
But like, she's already coming in hating Rob.
Yeah.
Like the rest of us do.
Of course.
He's hateable.
I would be judgy too. I'm just not, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Next, we get to Gino and Jasmine, who are still in Miami, and they're going to do salsa dancing classes.
Right.
And Gino says he's got the dance skills of John Travolta.
Okay.
Which I thought was really funny. But then he's like, just kidding. I have 2 left feet. And it's pretty cringe. And then the next day they go to take some selfies at some pier or whatever. And this is where Jasmine starts talking about her kid, Fiancé, and how she misses him. And then Gino's like, yeah, I would love to be a stepdad to him, but I'd also love a baby of my own. And then this brings up a conversation we haven't heard them talk about before, which is, let's have kids. And Jasmine doesn't want to have kids because she's nervous that she will produce a neurodivergent kid.
Right.
Because she's got 2 sons. JC is apparently nonverbal and has a mental disorder. She didn't say what it was, but one can assume it's probably like autism or something. And she is deeply ashamed about it. And she said...
I wouldn't say ashamed.
She is. She said, I ruined him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, she's not ashamed of him.
No, but she said she's ashamed because she doesn't want to produce like a neurodivergent kid for Gino's.
Like she thinks maybe something genetic that she's passing down is causing her children to be neurodivergent. Is Onse also?
No.
So yeah, I felt that this was really sad. It was also a dimension of Jasmine that we really don't get to see a whole lot because she's always on fucking 100 instead of on 10.
Yeah.
She's always hysterical about something. And I had my whole judgment moment when she's talking about how she would do anything for her child and that she wants to give them everything. And I'm like, well, what about your presence though?
Yeah.
Like, why aren't you actually
Why'd you
around
leave
your
them?
children? Like, why? I know you're presumably coming to America maybe to make a better life for yourself. But like, even when you were in Panama, you were living in an apartment building. I don't think you were living with your kids. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I'm a little bit judgy around that, but I did definitely feel for her when she was opening up about her youngest son. And I thought Gino, by the way, handled that exceptionally well.
I agree.
For a dork.
I was actually surprised that he handled it as well as he did because Gino's such a dummy. But he was like very sweet. And he's like, don't worry about it. We would love the child no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter to me.
And it's not your fault.
It's
Don't
not your
blame
fault.
yourself.
Yeah, I was a little judgy when she said the words, I ruined him, like she ruined her child. Because I'm like, that's mean. But like, I also understand it.
He's not broken.
Yeah, he's not broken. Like, but I also understand it from the parent's perspective. It's not like, it's not that she doesn't love her child because she does, but it's like, it's a harder life for him because he's got this mental disorder. So I get it. And I was actually like surprised to see this kind of vulnerability from Jasmine because she seems like she's a crazy, unhinged personality, but she's actually got a heart in there somewhere.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
And like I said, I thought Gino behaved in a very emotionally intelligent way and said the right things. And I think in doing so really softens Jasmine up to him.
Yeah.
Which of course is going to be just stripped away next time when she has to tell him about that butt job, but whatever. For right now, it seems pretty nice.
I know.
It's gonna go down
They're
the
fucking
drain.
crazy, dude.
Girl, please.
Up and down all the time with them. Then we get to Sam and Citra.
Honey, listen. That mother of Sam, that addict,
oh yeah,
that clear, drunk, intoxicated addict person living in a house with no furniture with her mother who's not all there, standing in judgment of beautiful Citra for being Muslim and from another place, and talking about Jesus Christ, and I wish she would just serve the God that I serve. Meanwhile, are you 8-balling? Are you doing drugs in the back? What do you, I spotted her immediately.
Oh, 100%.
And I think I spotted her when I saw her the very first time at the family picnic. I'm like, that lady's an alcoholic.
Oh yeah,
and or drug abuser.
Yeah. 100%.
So that's where Sam gets it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like mother, like son, right? Is that the phrase? Yeah, I don't like her at all. So essentially their segment starts with Sam and Citra. It's like the next day after Sam told Citra, oh, by the way, I was a dumbass and I didn't fill out my diversion paperwork in time, so I might have to go to jail while you're here. Sorry about that. Citra's still dealing with it, and her payback is to cook him very spicy Indonesian food, which I'm like, I want that.
I would love that.
That sounds delicious.
Very much so. She also got herself a rice pot, which everybody needs.
Yes.
I'm from Hawaii. We have rice with absolutely everything.
100%.
She must be so happy she can make her rice.
I know.
Not just potatoes and white people food.
She gets to have her rice. And so after she pays him back, she's like, well, I forgive you, kind of. He's like, well, are you going to make sure not to leave me if I go to jail? Because he's such an idiot.
Right.
Like, dude, come on. So manipulative. Like, you didn't fill out your paperwork in time, and then you're going to be like, but don't leave me, though.
Right.
When she should.
She should.
Then they go over to Sam's mom's house, and this is where Sam said that he actually has been estranged from his mother for 10 years. And that was my first giveaway that she was a drug addict for sure.
Yep.
Not just that Sam, it's the mom for sure. And I guess now she's gotten a house. So that's why there's no furniture there.
Her mother probably somehow got the house. And so she's leeching off her mother.
Yeah, totally. And they moved from North Carolina to Missouri. So they go over there. Citra brings over some like meat dish or whatever, is like a, nice house warming thing, whatever. And the mom's initially nice. She's like, oh, you're so beautiful. It's so great. But then immediately gets into, so are you going to have a Muslim wedding? Are you going to convert? And she's not okay with this, but she reacts okay in front of them. She doesn't say anything obscene in front of them.
No, she's not a straight up bigot.
Yeah.
Out loud in front of them.
No.
But she alludes to not necessarily praying for them for the reason that they want when the producers are talking to her. It's just this whole, and actually Sam said it pretty clearly, like they're the type of people who claim Jesus and claim Christianity, but then they don't act like it at all in their own personal lives.
Yep.
And I just, I spent a lot of time in Christianity. I was a missionary and everything. People know my story, like many, many years in organized religion. I still consider myself to be Christian, but I mean, a very ecumenical, open-minded Christian. But one thing I do not miss are Christians in the church.
Yep.
The judgmental, hypocritical Christians of the church. And even though she's kind of an outlier because she's clearly also an addict.
Yeah.
It's just the same old shit. People who claim Jesus and love are the ones that are the least loving toward other people who aren't like them.
Right.
And I'm sorry, but the God that she worships, I'm going off, the God that she worships is the same God that you worship, just of a different name, and it's a different system that gets there. But like, okay,
agreed.
Go off, queen.
Yeah, like whatever. I mean, I guess I can understand the sentiment she says where she's like, I don't feel like you should have to convert to be with somebody.
Yes.
And I mean, I agree with that because I think Sam's kind of stupid. He's just converting just to get
He
pussy.
doesn't know what he's doing.
No, he doesn't care either.
Right.
It's not important to him. He just wants to get laid. That's it. And so that's wrong. And he shouldn't be just converting to a religion or committing to a religion just because he's sprung. But at the same time, like, who fucking cares? And then she was talking about the Muslim wedding and she's like, I don't know if I can go to something that I don't necessarily support. I'm like, but your son's getting married though. So you can support that.
Right.
It doesn't really matter how the wedding happens, he's getting married.
Yeah.
She's judgy as fuck, and she's a drug addict.
I know. And she doesn't think that it's obvious that she has her own problems. And it's just really rich that you stand in judgment of other people when you clearly have so many things going wrong in your own life because of your own choices and by your own design.
Yep.
Yeah.
But her mom was cute, though.
Whose mom? Oh, she was cute.
Yeah.
She was, I mean, like, she didn't really seem like she was all there.
No,
I'm
but
like,
she
is she
was
being
sweet.
taken advantage of for her Social Security benefits by
Probably.
Sam's mom?
Probably.
Why is she sleeping on a cot in the living room next to her daughter who's free basic drugs? No doubt.
I don't know. Did you see the patches of holes in the wall,
Yes.
too? And I'm like, what's going on here?
Something weird's going on. I'm worried about that lady, that grandma.
I know. I'm worried about this whole family, and I'm worried about Citra. Because now she's stuck with all these people.
Primarily worried about Citra. She's way too good for all of these people.
Because what if Sam goes to jail? Then what is she going to do? She's going to have the choice of hanging out with Sam's drug addict mom or Sam's creepy father.
Alien father who's like, she's so pretty and she cooks.
Can you
Ooh.
cook for me?
Ew.
Oh,
I would be super worried for her.
I know. Let's pray for Citra.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yikes.
Yeah. Yikes.
Yikes.
Then we get to Nikki and Justin Igor, who have been gone for so long I almost forgot they existed.
I missed them so much. Look, Justin, I call him Justin.
I know. Look at you.
Igor is showing his true colors.
He's been showing them.
But it's been a slow kind of crawl to really revealing how he feels. I mean, he says things here and there, but like we'll get there. But when she's talking about threesomes and he's just laughing at her, I'm just like, he doesn't give a shit anymore.
No, he doesn't care at all.
Like, yeah, I've been banging bitches. What?
What are you gonna do about it?
Not a damn thing.
So we meet them driving home from that weird vacation
The
that they
winery.
had like 4 episodes ago. And they're still arguing because Nikki feels upset that Igor was fucking other bitches while they were still technically dating. He's like, I don't see what the big idea is. I'm just a man.
Mm-hmm. Men fuck.
Yeah. Like, what do you expect? It was a friends with benefits.
Women
I'm
fuck
committed
too.
to you. I mean,
Igor.
Yeah. I mean, was Nikki cheating on him? She hasn't said.
She hasn't, but he hasn't asked.
No, exactly.
So he doesn't care.
Yeah. And you guys were long distance and you guys have broken up.
Listen, I would be brokenhearted if I was long distance with somebody and I was like being faithful and I loved them and I was anticipating marriage and I found out that he's having all kind of Moldovan friends with benefit romances, like in the way that she did.
Yeah.
I would be brokenhearted, but I don't know.
I just can't like picture Nikki having a conversation with him being like, these are the boundaries.
Right. These are the parameters of the relationship that we're going to operate in. Like, yeah, no. All she does is scream and demand sex.
Yep. Exactly.
It's probably every phone call they had during long distance, it was some sort of fucking sex phone call.
Oh, 100%.
It's a phone sexy call. It's a phone sex call.
For real. So she's upset. And Igor doesn't get it. And then they get back to his house.
Why is she so upset? She's so driven by sex.
Oh, yeah.
She's so driven by what is between her legs and the sexual experience. Can she not appreciate that he might want the same thing?
No.
Okay. I mean, you'd think that she'd
no.
understand. Like, she'd be like, I get it, because all I want to do is fuck all the time, apparently.
No.
But no, she's jealous as fuck.
Yeah, and she wants monogamy. And I'm like, that's cool. Then you should have said that. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys had this 17-year-long like friendship / relationship, you guys break up, you have all this trauma and baggage, and then you have years of like kind of talking, not talking, all this back and forth. Like, I'm sure Igor was probably like, I mean, we're not married yet. Mm-hmm. But then again, they went to Mexico together. And so she said that even then he was still fucking people. So like they had a whole trip together and they were talking about marriage allegedly. So I get why she might be upset.
It's also convoluted.
I don't know.
It's not going anywhere. It's not going to work.
Yep. Then they get back to the apartment and Nikki's like, I still have to talk about this. And Igor's like, okay, what? And she's like,
playing with that little stuffed animal ostrich or whatever.
Yeah, he does not give a
He doesn't care. He doesn't care
at all. And so she's like, okay, well, I need to know how many people you fucked because we had unprotected sex. So I need to know exactly how many. And he's like, 2.
Okay.
You don't believe him?
No. I think
it's
there's
more than
way
two?
more than two. Oh, yeah.
Probably.
Especially over the years. Way more than two.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And so she's like, okay, fine, whatever. But I still feel used and I still feel like you don't care about me. And I'm 47 years old or whatever. And I did all of my experimenting in my 20s. I had threesomes. I had foursomes. I had fivesomes. I had them with all different shapes.
Had 3 men all up in every hole in Paris. And it wasn't that great, but I did that. And poor Igor is just sitting there going, well, I want to try some of that. I want to have some sexual experiences. I'm stuck in Moldova with all these trad women. I want to go to Paris and bang people.
Right.
But no, Nikki's not about that life anymore.
No, she's like, I want monogamy. I want a husband. He's like, well, but you met me when I was in my 20s. And so I didn't get to experiment at all. And then we broke up in a traumatic way. And I still haven't gotten to experiment. So like, why can't we just experiment together?
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I guess I can kind of understand the perspective if he's like being like, well, why can't we, make it a part of our relationship? But Nikki doesn't want that. And that's fine. That's her boundary.
Sure.
But I'm like, this whole thing is just stupid as fuck. Because then Nikki makes it about like her being trans. And she says the reason why Igor was fucking other women is because she thinks that she isn't enough for him as a trans woman.
And she's right.
I mean,
I'm not saying that's right. But
yeah,
she is right because, of course, we see Igor go out with his friend and have a discussion about how this is really hard trying to work it out with Nikki because she's always bringing this masculine energy. And his friend, who is a complete toxic masculinity person, is just
man.
like, well, women are inherently manipulative.
Yeah.
And so, like, you've got to show her your manly side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be the man in the relationship. And
Yeah.
Igor's like, okay. But I mean, Igor, the fact of the matter is he's not attracted to Nikki.
He's
like,
not.
He's
and
really
I'm sorry,
trying.
but he's not.
But he's not. And like Nikki just needs to get that through her head and try to and stop trying to force him to love her. Like she wants this to work so bad.
I think he does love her.
You think
and
so?
He even says, my heart loves her, my body not so much. My heart loves her,
Yikes.
but like I can't like get it up.
Yeah.
I can't like feel that physical intimacy with her because I can't get there in my mind. And right or wrong, that's where he's at. And I feel like she just doesn't want to accept that. And or she wants to take that really critically and judgmentally. Whereas I don't think he can help it. Like I feel like Igor wishes he could think physically she was the hottest woman on the planet and get into it, but he can't.
No, and I think he did when they first were together. Like when he didn't know that she was trans. Like he was all up in it. I mean, they were together for 2 years fucking all the time. And Nikki says that they had a crazy sex life. And then the second he found that out, he was like devastated. And so, I mean, like, can you fucking blame him, Nikki? Like, I'm sorry, but like, you're the one that fucking lied. You didn't say anything to him. And now you're trying to make something work that's never going to work.
Right. She needs to just give up. And it looks like she doesn't give up. It looks like she's going to receive a text at some point in the future where Igor just calls it off over text and she's going to be devastated. But I'm like, lady, the writing is on the wall.
Yep.
And he's writing it on your wall.
I mean, over and over
Yes,
again.
he doesn't want this.
His last ditch effort was
But,
like, let's do threesomes.
Why did he take her to meet his parents? Like, why take her to meet all of his friends who we already know are in Moldova totally judging him, although
Totes.
they're being cool on the camera. They're totally judging him.
Yeah.
Why would he put himself in all of these situations unless he did love her?
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the fact that he can't get there.
No.
He just can't do it.
I think you're right. I think he really has been trying to get himself to love her and be with her, but it's just not
Not gonna
fucking
happen.
working. Then we get to Manuel.
And she's desperate because she's 47. I'm not moving on. She's 47 years. She's almost 50 years old.
I know.
And she's like, well, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
Like, and this is my hot young stud. I've like hitched my wagon to the idea of us getting married. And now I'm almost 50 years old. What the fuck am I going to do? I know she's feeling desperate.
Yeah.
I know that's probably why she's acting so desperately with him. But she needs to calm down, pull back, collect herself. She's a lovely person. I mean, if she calms down, she's a lovely person, and just move on in your own life. You'll be okay, Nikki.
100%. And maybe stop going after Moldovan men since you obviously don't have a good track record with them.
Right.
Like, just stop it and try and find somebody in fucking, where is she from? Jersey?
Something.
I mean, I'm
Something
sure you
like
can find
that.
somebody. Go on Tinder or something.
Yes.
Good Lord. Then we get to Manuel and Ashley. You don't like him at all.
I do not like him at all.
He's such an asshole.
But what I can acknowledge about him is that he puts himself out there authentically. Like, this is what I expect. This is how I think we should live. And this is what I'm going to do.
Yep.
And Ashley just can't accept it. It's not like he's lying to her and saying, I am fine if you go spend your money over here, and then stealing. He's telling her exactly who he is and what he wants. And she's the one who's trying to change him.
Yes.
And frustrating herself in the process.
Yes, 100%. They have a weird fucking relationship. So we start off with them. Ashley has invited over Manuel's BFF, Jonathan, who lives in New York. And the whole purpose of this was to make Manuel feel more comfortable and to have somebody else to speak Spanish with.
Right.
And feel a little bit more, just at ease, because he's been feeling a little like a fish out of water up in New York. So Manuel and Jonathan go to like a bar or whatever. And Manuel immediately is like, Ashley spends way too much money. I feel like she needs to help me support my family. This was the agreement that we had, blah, blah, blah. And Jonathan's like, dude, you're in America. Like, people spend money here. We are a nation of consumers. I've got 20 pairs of shoes. I've got all these different clothes. Like, that's just the way it is here. It's not abnormal for Ashley to be spending money on Starbucks or shoes or little trinkets and stuff for herself. And I mean, he's right.
Yes, he is.
That's just what it is. And I mean, I understand that Manuel is kind of a frugal, dude, and he does care about his family.
And that's indicative of his culture as well.
Of course. But at the same time, like, lighten up a little bit. Like, she is sending money. Like, didn't we have 2 episodes ago, you guys agreed she's going to be sending your family like at least $100 a month, and then she's going to increase it. Like, she's sending your family money. It's not like she's not sending anything.
Right. It's, I think, his proprietary like claim over her money. Like, he just expects her to take her own resources and send them to his family that he hasn't actually introduced her to properly. So she doesn't know who these people are. She's going to be funding their lifestyle to some degree. And he's just like, damn right you are.
Yeah.
That's what I expect.
Yeah.
And at least he's putting it on Front Street. And she could say no, and she could break up, but she's not going to do that. She's going to make herself miserable.
For sure.
And keep getting upset because he's saying the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. And I wondered if like the reason why he's so reactive about it is because he can't work. And so if he comes from this culture of like the men provide for the family and the men are supposed to be working all this stuff, it might be really frustrating for him to not be able to provide any money. So he's like, just fucking send all of the money that you have.
I don't know. I'm getting Rob vibes from him.
Rob? You think he's going to be a loser?
I don't know. I'm just getting like, I'm not so sure if he's going to be working so hard. I don't know. I feel like he's just a drain on her resources and he's using her.
Oh.
Maybe he does get a job. I'm sure he'll get a job, but I'm just saying, like, I don't feel like he's motivated to go out and do all that. He wants to use what she has for himself.
Well, time will tell with that for sure.
And he's placating her with Dick because in the preview for next week, they're fighting and arguing and she's crying. She's upset that he still feels the same way that he's felt the entire time and told you about. And then he takes her into the bathroom and bangs her.
Yeah, in a public restroom. I was so grossed out by that. Like, that is nasty, dude. But whatever.
That's their only like viable form of communication is sex. That's how they connect.
That's it. And I really felt for Ashley in this episode because I've been kind of critical of her in these recaps because I think she's kind of annoying sometimes. But in this episode, I was like, dang, I feel really bad for her because she joins Manuel and Jonathan at some point, and Manuel immediately is like, you're spending way too much money. And Ashley's like trying to communicate with Jonathan so that way he can try to translate to Manuel. It's like this whole big old mess. But essentially, Ashley's like, fuck you, dude, because I pay for all of these bills on my own. I'm sponsoring you without a cosigner, which I'm like, that's a big deal for a K1 visa. And she's sending money to your family. Like, she's doing all of this shit by herself with no help, with no family giving her any other money.
And you don't seem very grateful about any of it. You're just expecting more.
Yes. I was like, dang, slay queen. Like, I don't know what you do
but
for
I mean,
work.
I think she's kind of out of pocket. Every time they go out with other people, she's always bringing up their problems. And I think in that conversation with the friend at the coffee shop, she's the one who brings it up to the friend. And she's like, I need you to tell him, like, this is what I'm doing. And this is what he needs to understand. I'm like, that's awkward. Why do you always have to fight in front of other people?
Maybe it's a kink for them.
Maybe
they just like, that's what they do. They fight and they have makeup sex. I mean, they use sex to solve their problems, but Maybe they like the conflict too.
Maybe. Ugh, they're exhausting.
They're really annoying, but I'm just like, okay, girl. Oh, she also says that I'm doing all of this stuff for you monetarily and I'm fucking you multiple times a day. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn.
Well, I think you like that, though. I think you're enjoying that. Maybe that's not necessarily Manuel. Maybe that's you.
Yeah, you're jumping his bones.
But yeah, but she's making a good point. Like, I am literally facilitating your entire existence. I'm giving you everything that I can possibly give you, and I'm giving shit to your family too, and you're still bitching about it,
Yeah.
Manuel.
Fuck you,
Fuck
dude.
out of here.
God.
But she gonna marry him, so
Oh yeah, she's
get what you settle for.
100% gonna marry him.
I know.
And then they're gonna divorce.
Of course. He's gonna use her and then lose her, and she's gonna cry and be so shocked about it.
Maybe they'll be on The Last Resort
Oh God. Please no.
with the sex therapy. I want to see them on
Oh,
Last
God.
Resort.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
see Gino and Jasmine on Last Resort.
Me too.
Maybe Nikki and Justin, Igor. That'd be great.
That would be pretty funny. I would like that. Yeah.
She's probably gonna end up on The Single Life though, probably,
Okay.
which we haven't watched.
No, we have not, nor do I want to. I am not watching Veronica and Chantal.
No way.
I am not doing that. And Natalie.
Oh, I know.
No, thank you.
The worst.
The barnacle parasite Natalie. No.
I know. Absolutely not. Last but not least, we get to Clayton.
This little
Ollie.
dork, milk toast,
Incel.
small statured, small dick man. No.
He's the worst.
No.
It's the morning after their really terrible double date with Cameron and his girlfriend.
hands are so small.
I
Do you
know.
ever,
Yes.
like when he was working the grill,
He's like
all I
4
could do
foot.
was look at his hands. I'm like, this is not looking good for Annalie. No wonder it's been 59 days since you haven't had sex. This man has toddler hands. Hands of a 3-year-old.
Dude, he has no, what do the kids call it? Riz? He
None.
has no,
He ain't got no wrist.
no Riz
No.
at all. I'm like, dude, there's nothing redeemable about you.
Really nothing.
I mean, your personality's terrible.
Let's try to think of one thing that he's got that's redeeming of him. He loves animals.
I was going to say.
He loves his mother.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. There's
He's got a stable job.
I think
That's more so than Rob.
right. Correct. Okay. So there's a few things. So
Yeah.
I can see why somebody might buy into the idea of him
I guess.
until they get to America and actually have to spend time with him and see his little pamper
his little
hands.
baby hands and his
God,
tiny
God,
little
goo, goo,
pee-pee.
mommy, hands. Working that girl. Yikes.
So nasty. And so Annalie's obviously still upset with him for talking about their sex life immediately to these strangers.
Inappropriate.
And Clayton's justification for this in his talking head is like, well, but it's our private life, so it affects me. So I feel like I should be allowed to talk about it with my friend.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
In a relationship, you don't do that. I mean, am I being unreasonable though? Because I know with women like to talk to other women, their friends, about
Yeah.
their relationships and things like that. I remember talking to my best friend in my 20s about my first husband and actually drawing a picture of a life-size picture of his penis.
Stop.
And her drawing a life-size picture of her husband's penis. And we were,
And was it smaller? Was her husband smaller?
yeah, I was married to that Samoan man, honey. Married to that Samoan man. But I'm just saying, like, women, I do acknowledge that we tend to have those types of relationships with each other when we're always talking about it. But I don't know. If my man did that, I would be upset.
Well, yeah, especially, and I mean, I don't know. When I came into this family, like I came from a family who talked mad shit. Like there ain't no secrets in my family at all. Like people talk about everybody in my family.
Okay.
So when I met your daughter, she has the same kind of way. Like don't talk about, you know, our relationship or personal stuff with like just anybody. Like if you want to mention a couple things, it's fine. But like don't talk about our dirty details, especially our sex life. You don't need to be talking about that to strangers or national TV, Clayton. So I
Right.
mean, that was something that like I learned. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a normal human behavior to want privacy.
Right. Yeah, and to have boundaries around that,
Yes.
especially sexual stuff.
I mean-
100%. So he has no home training. He has no worldly experience. He doesn't have any social training. He does not know how to act. This is the first time he actually met that guy, Cameron or whatever. What is his name?
Cameron, yeah.
You know, in person. So he just doesn't know how to act.
Well, I'm like, dude, and you're talking about the sex life. It'd be one thing if you were just talking about something very mundane in your guys' relationship, but you're talking about the fact that she won't fuck you.
Right.
To these people you're just now meeting, she's never met before, and you're blasting it on TV.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Such an incel. When he was saying all this stuff, he's like, well, it's our private life and it affects me. I'm like, oh my God.
That's not how that works.
You are
You
a turbo
dolt.
virgin.
Yeah,
I
dolt.
can't. But then he ultimately apologizes to Annalie and she accepts it like the dummy she is because she loves him for some
No,
reason.
she doesn't.
She's
You see how
faking
she
it.
looks at him? She hates him. She literally hates him. She's disgusted by him, and so am I. So Annalise, so same.
Yeah.
Like over breakfast, when he's putting mayonnaise on his breakfast sandwich with
And he's
bacon
got
and
it on
cheese.
his mouth
So-
and stuff.
and I'm just like, she's hates him.
Yeah.
The way she's looking at him, like, oh,
She's not attracted to him.
nobody's attracted to him. Nobody would be attracted to him.
No, not at all. And so after he apologizes or whatever, then he's like, I've got a surprise for you. And then he's like, I can't tell you about it. So I'm going to go hang out with Cameron. And then him and Cameron go and do some dance lessons.
Gay. Gay.
You think they're gay for each other?
Gay. Well, there's the undertones of the homoeroticism when he's running into his arms in the airport.
I know.
Right? And they're hugging every day. Can we still hug? I want to hug you. Side hug.
You want to dance together?
Gay.
I thought the same thing. I was like, dang, dude. Maybe this whole 90 Day Fiancé trope was just for him and Cameron to meet.
Maybe.
But Clayton, just like Gino, is a bad fucking dancer.
Go figure.
Which is so embarrassing. I'm like, it's not that hard. How do you not have rhythm?
Well, a lot of people don't have rhythm. But I mean, why are you putting yourself in a situation with another bro to go learn how to dance? I just, ugh.
He's like trying to do it like romantic because he says he's learning a Peruvian dance, like a special Peruvian dance to dance with Annalie at their wedding. And I'm like, okay.
That's nobody's gonna laugh or anything with that big hat on and you dancing around in the
If
Peruvian
there's
way.
even gonna be a wedding,
Please,
I doubt there's
if
gonna
she
be a
doesn't
wedding.
dump him ASAP, I can't. I
She's
cannot go
gonna-
on.
She's gonna have to. And then after the dancing, Cameron and Clayton again talk about Clayton's relationship even more. And Cameron's giving him advice, and he's like, well, you know, you need to talk to her about not fucking you, but also you need to talk to her about how she's not telling her dad about you.
Right.
Which, I mean, that's fair.
Yes, 100%. That's the yep. Continue.
So then they go back to the nice Airbnb where Cameron ultimately says his goodbyes. He's like, it was nice seeing y'all. Peace out.
Did you see how Annalie was looking at him though?
Oh, yeah. She's like, he's cute.
Little dreamy eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're a real man.
He kind of looks like a Ross version of Bruno Mars.
Ross version of Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not my type, but like he's
No.
infinitely better than Clayton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
She's like, can you take me with you?
Please.
Don't leave me here with Clayton.
Oh, God. And then Clayton cooks Annalie a very sad, pathetic looking dinner with this weird steak and store-bought potatoes.
Toddler hands.
I know.
Working the grill. So toddler
It looks
hands.
really bad. It looks very unappetizing. And then he immediately gets into, hey, Annalie, why don't you tell your dad about me? And she's like, we've talked about this.
Are you really going to ruin my dinner? Yes, bitch, I'm going to ruin your dinner because like we're going to get married within 30 days or whatever it is. And you haven't told your parents yet. Like, what are you actually doing here?
Yeah, we've been together for 2 years. Why can't you say something?
Right.
You're saying it on TV. And she's
What are
like,
you hiding?
I know.
There's some kind of an ulterior motive here.
Maybe she's ashamed of Clayton,
Well, that
honestly.
could be the most obvious choice, right? Yeah.
Like, maybe she's in love with him. I can't see why, but maybe she just doesn't want to bring him home to
She
her
won't
dad.
touch the man. She won't
She
touch him.
has, though.
I
They
know,
have
but
fucked.
to lure, so that she could lure him into a relationship so she could move to America. Like, and then she's going to marry him and she's going to immediately leave him.
But she doesn't want to live in America. She doesn't want to live in Kentucky She's from Peru, and
she's
like,
gonna move. Yeah.
Yeah, she wants to be with her sick mom. Like, I don't think she even wanted to come to America.
I don't know what's happening with this girl. I just know that like she seems mean to me.
You
like,
think so?
Yeah, I do. I felt that from the beginning. She's like got a hard heart sometimes. The way she looks at him, the way she talks to him.
Yeah.
And she's hiding something, and she doesn't have the courage to just tell him what it is. And he's asking a very reasonable question. And so she gets up, she leaves that little steak, she goes and cries in another room. And I'm like, what's going on with these people?
And it's left on a cliffhanger because they're going to fight about it in the next episode.
Right.
And that's like the whole preview. So we get to the preview where Clayton and Annalie are fighting, and she's crying, and she threatens to break up.
Good.
Please do.
Get on, go.
Gino proposes to Jasmine, and Jasmine feels guilty because now she's got to tell him who paid for her butt implant.
That big old badonkadonk was paid for by her ex, right? Or most of it was paid for by her ex, right?
Well, and all the money that Gino gave her for a wedding dress went to her ass.
What's he gonna do you think?
Oh, he's gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like, I gave you $4,000 and you used it for your ass.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe she'll spin it and be like, but I know you love my ass, Gino.
Of course she's going to try.
Yeah.
We'll see what he does, though.
Yeah, he's probably going to freak out. And then Sam talks with Citra's father, which I'm very excited to see because I feel like the dad's going to be like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
And then Igor and Nikki are still fighting because he's not attracted to her.
Mm-hmm.
Manuel and Ashley go fuck in a public restroom and probably get some diseases.
Ew.
And then Rob is still yelling at Sophie's mom.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Good episode. Good talk.
Nice comeback.
So how many more episodes do you think we have of this season?
I don't know. This was episode 12.
It kind of feels like Nikki and Igor are wrapping up because what more can they really do?
I know. We're stretching this out.
Annalie and Clayton, we're almost at the end. We're definitely almost at the end with Manuel and what's her name?
Ashley.
With the tornado wedding coming up shortly.
Yeah.
Rob and Sophie, I hear, spoiler alert, I hear they're not together.
Oh, good.
At some point, they moved to Texas, and I think Austin in specific. I think they lived together for a little while, but then now he's on his own, and she's got some nice, tricked out apartment in Austin, and he's probably living in a dumpster. Not this dumpster, though. Some other dumpster, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Well, honestly, good, because I didn't want to see more of them.
Yes.
He's the worst.
But did they get married first? And did they move together as a married couple?
Oh, God.
Or
Maybe
did she not?
Maybe they did. Well, because normally this season usually concludes with like weddings. It's usually like this. And then after this, we'll have a spinoff of like happily ever after. So like normally that's how it goes. But what? We've only had... We haven't even had a wedding, have we?
No.
I don't think we have. So we have one wedding that's coming up, Manuel and Ashley's, but that's it? And maybe Gino and Jasmine?
Maybe,
but I don't know if they're going to get married.
I don't know. I don't think they are. Yeah, I don't think anybody's getting married.
So there's got to be like maybe 2 more episodes I could see, and then tell-alls is what I'm thinking. And there's probably going to be like 3 fucking tell-alls.
Are we going to be covering all the tell-alls?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't want to.
Well, we got to. It's for the job.
Well,
It's for the Raccoons.
Well, we're starting Vanderpump Rules at the end of this month.
Yeah.
So do we think that 90 Day Fiancé is going to wind down by then?
When does Vanderpump come out?
The last week of January, I think.
Oh, maybe it'll.
Okay.
We might have to overlap with some of the tell-alls.
And by the way, Raccoons, we might have to switch up our schedule a little bit
Just a little
because at the end of Sister Wives, which is next Monday, that's the last episode for season 18, we're going to switch over to Sister Wives Rewinds. We're going to start with season 4. So we're kind of going back into the archives and doing recaps from there. But we might move our Sister Wives coverage to later in the week and then have Vanderpump and 90 Day Fiancé earlier in the week, although I don't know because I think Vanderpump probably comes out on a Wednesday. I know it's going to change everything.
Don't they know that we have a schedule?
Yeah, well, we might have to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, we might have to adjust it.
So just be flexible, Raccoons.
Yeah.
We're getting our shit together.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that we need to tell these beautiful raccoons, Beatrice?
Well, if you love our podcast, you better be going onto your favorite podcast platform and give us a glowing 5-star review. It really helps us grow the pod. So thank you so much.
And until next time, which will be Monday or Tuesday, depending on whether you're a patron, when we come back for Sister Wives, please don't forget that we have nothing but love for you and peace out.
Bye.
Bye, guys.